It's Morning Becomes Eclectic. I just figured I'd say it a different way today.
You did. You came in, and I'm scared. Now I'm a little bit scared, but you're so professional that I get scared, but I'm quickly put at ease. Thank you for having me, Nick.
It's a pleasure to see you, Wayne. Mr. Wayne Coyne joins us from the Flaming Lips, of course.
Let it be said, this is a wonderful show. I wish every radio station in the world was like this. I do go to a lot of radio stations, and radio stations around the world are getting less and less. But gosh, if this was really the way the world was, it'd be a wonderful, wonderful.
But if they were all like this, then there wouldn't be anything special about us.
Well, that's not true. See, I think everybody can be special and good and better than average. And if the world was all better than average, that would be fine by me.
You're a positive man, aren't you? You try to be, I know that.
Of course.
You've been kicking around here a couple of hours already. What have you been doing?
I did a bunch of other radio interviews while I was here. We are efficient with our time these days, aren't we? I know.
Coming to KCRW, and while you're here, talk to Oklahoma, or where else do you talk to? It's ironic that you did an interview back to Oklahoma.
I think ironic is giving it too much. It's ridiculous in a way, because sometimes I'm there all year, but I come to Los Angeles and finally talk to the radio stations in my own hometown. It's bizarre, isn't it?
Well, welcome back. Christmas on Mars. Now, is that officially out? You did a screening last night, right?
It is, and it was spectacular. I wish every film that I went to could be accompanied by the insane Flaming Lips audience, because they laugh and they scream, and you can tell when they're saddened and involved in the movie. And you would think, we talked about this, you would think it would interrupt the movie, but I think it makes it better. People screaming and laughing. Maybe not every movie could withstand that the way that a Flaming Lips movie does, but I encouraged them. I went up there before the film. We'd been showing it all summer in our movie tent at rock festivals, and I sort of felt obligated to say, look, this, even though it is art, a lot of times people will view like an arty film with some sort of quiet respect, like, ooh, I don't want to laugh. If Wayne's watching, I don't want him to think I think it's funny if it's not supposed to be. So I go up and say, look, you've got to be involved in this thing, laugh and scream and applaud. And if stuff happens, be involved, don't worry about it. And it makes all the difference. I mean, from the get-go, people are going crazy, and it's wonderful.
Now, you first mentioned this movie to us, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago, I think, something like that. Did it take
maybe longer?
Really?
Yeah.
Give us the seeds of Christmas on Mars.
Well, I don't know if you're going to have Axl Rose in here to promote his
probably not
his Chinese democracy, but people have compared it to that.
Maybe I don't know.
And I don't know if that's is even a right comparison. I mean, I know we started working on it in 2001, in a sense that we would not casually, go to our next project as if it's just art to us, whether it's an album or putting on spectacular shows or whatever. So we started to make a movie, not being out of the realm of bands that we like. Anyway, you could think of the Beatles. They have movies. Pink Floyd, the Ramones. I wouldn't even put it out of the realm of saying that the Spice Girls would have a movie. You just, as a rock group, I think it's allowable, almost sometimes expected, that you would eventually have a movie. So we thought, why don't we just start to make a movie? And I sort of felt like the Flaming Lips audience almost would embrace that. Like, of course, Wayne and the fellas will be out. They just do whatever they want, They can have a parade. They can, maybe someday they'll have a candy bar and they make albums and shows. Anything is possible.
Flaming Lips candy bar.
Nick, you should have a candy bar.
I think I should, if you could get a penny from every one of those, right?
Or even just to have it. What would your candy bar be? It would be a great candy bar.
Actually, it's not something I've ever put any thought into, actually, Wayne. But
people ask me all the time.
What would your candy bar be?
My candy bar would sort of be like it would be like kind of a white chocolate, but it would be fleshy colored, and you'd bite into it, and there'd be some nougat in there that would act like blood.
Yeah, I knew that was coming.
I know.
Yeah.
It's like there's only so many things you can do with candy.
Yeah,
that
exactly.
Isn't just disgusting.
Do you have a name all ready to go for this in case Hershey's are listening?
It would be the Wayne bar, of course.
Absolutely. All right.
Anyway, see, anything is possible. I mean, we talk about it like it's ridiculous, and then suddenly, Hey, I think I'd like that candy bar. Yeah, we'll think of the Nic Harcourt bar. We'll think of that. We'll get it out there.
There's actually, yeah. All right, we'll figure it out. I'm getting some ideas right now. Dark chocolate, definitely.
Oh, I see.
Yeah,
I'm liking that.
There would be some cherries involved. We'll work on this throughout the rest of the
once you start to
program.
think of it, it comes to you.
Yeah.
Why
Why don't we play a song? Because we can yak forever. and you did bring some music into play. Now you just mentioned Pink Floyd when you were talking about bands who do movies or did movies.
Exactly, and it's very sad, and maybe a lot of people aren't aware of it because it wasn't a big announcement. But Rick Wright, the keyboard player, maybe made the most understated member of Pink Floyd. Maybe they're all understated in a sense, but Rick Wright.
I don't think Roger Waters is understated.
Of all of them, no. You're right. Him and Axl Rose. We're gonna get into a fight with them someday, aren't we? But Rick Wright was his contribution to Pink Floyd. I don't even think we couldn't even imagine what it would have been like. But he died some sort of sudden cancer just a couple of months ago, and I've done interviews and things since that talking about him and their music, but I've not yet to have a chance to play it and
celebrate the music.
Yeah, in a sense, to say, man, how cool is this stuff? And this song from Dark Side of the Moon is without Rick turning these bluesy chords sort of slightly more jazzy and being so relaxed as it is. It's one of the greatest songs.
So what's the track we're going to play?
It's called Us and Them.
All right, let's listen to that. Wayne Coyne is our guest. It's Morning Becomes Eclectic. It's Morning Becomes Eclectic at KCRW, and much as we love Dark Side of the Moon, and of course this track, which was selected by our guest this morning, Wayne Coyne. We're not going to listen to the whole thing, because otherwise we won't get to play anything else. Should we just play it as a music bed underneath us right now?
We can even do that, or we can even know that music will play on forever.
Somewhere.
It's like that, and how much better the world is because music like that is made, and we live in good times.
It's a classic album, of course, and I remember being a kid in England when this came out. I was like 2 or something. I remember when this came out, and it was on the charts for 25 years or something. It was on the charts forever.
I think it was this record that made me aware that there were charts. I mean, in my world, my brothers just took drugs and listened to music, and we did stuff, and you didn't even think was it popular or not. I just thought that was the way the world was. You listen to Pink Floyd and the Beatles and good stuff, and
everybody made music like that.
Yeah, and then I know I had a rude awakening, didn't I? But maybe parts of that will always be true.
Why don't we jump back quickly to talking about the movie Christmas on Mars?
There you go.
Now you said that the original idea came 7-8 years ago or something. But what was the original idea apart from we're the Flaming Lips and we should make a movie?
Right. Well, I think in that I don't ever restrict myself from thinking, okay, if I want to do something, I'll just start to pursue it. I think the Flaming Lips audience wants me to do that. They encourage me to sort of take this obsessive imagination and do with it whatever you want. But I wanted to make a movie. I think we as the Flaming Lips collectively were thinking we should make a movie. We didn't know what it would be. We do a Christmas card every year to our people who's in our fan base that we have an address to. Well, I make a Christmas card and we send it out. Well, you do this every year. As you know, you quickly run out of ideas. You think, what do we do now? I was getting ready to go. I can't remember where, but before I left, it was October. As you know, you have to make a Christmas card way in advance or you don't get it done in time. Sometime in October, I was going to do something, but I knew we had to do this Christmas card. So my wife took a picture of me with a Polaroid. I was holding a light under my chin, but I was mostly using myself as a model. I'm a human, that you can use me as a model. And we agreed that she was going to paint me as a Martian with a Santa Claus suit on. We'd say, it's the Martian Santa Claus. We'd send it out. That'd be our card. Whew, got through that one. Anyway, so I come back a few weeks later, and my wife, who's a wonderful painter, paints this thing from the Polaroid. Well, it looks exactly like me. No big deal. We send the card out as Wayne, as the Martian Santa Claus. Everywhere I go after that, people say, Wayne, I love you as the Martian Santa Claus. You should make a cartoon or a movie. And I'm like, okay, well, we were thinking about making a movie. I guess maybe we should make it about this Martian Santa Claus. And I came up with the title, Christmas on Mars. And I would say, we're thinking about making a movie called Christmas on Mars. What do you think of that? And people are like, that sounds like exactly the movie you would make. And so, sort of feeling it out, hoping that I was on the right track. I thought, okay, that sounds like a movie probably nobody else would make except me.
I don't think anybody else would make it, to be honest with you. I watched an hour of it on DVD last night. Now, I would have watched the whole thing.
That's okay.
But it was, 2 o'clock in the morning,
Yeah,
and I had to get a little bit of sleep before I got in here. I was out watching a show last night. But give us a quick synopsis of the story. It starts off, I felt like I was in 2001 or something at the beginning, like a Flaming Lips 2001.
Well, but that's a great compliment. I mean, because I think, rock movies can be so bad, I guess, and for it to hold any thread of any integrity at all, I take that as a great compliment. I think when we say Christmas on Mars, we could assume maybe it's not really about Christmas or Mars. Weird titles when you think of like a movie like Water for Chocolate. Except
they are in a space station.
No, Christmas on Mars is really on Mars,
and there is a Santa Claus.
Yeah. I mean, it is literally Christmas on Mars. So there's a group of people on this in the space station on Mars. Things seem to be going badly for them. They're trying to fix the oxygen generator. They mess that up and break it. There's a kind of futuristic baby that's being born that people are very worried about. Is this all going to go well?
Well, as you would be.
Yeah.
Clearly.
Yeah. And then the gravity control pod is malfunctioning. And so they find themselves in kind of this bleak helplessness of like, my God, and you could imagine if you were actually on Mars and the oxygen generator broke, boy, that would be a bad time.
It would not be a good thing.
Luckily, my character in the film is like a super being who is curious about all things in the world. He lands on Mars and helps them fix their oxygen generator. Michael in the Flaming Lips is the super genius. He helps fix the strange gravity control pod, and the futuristic baby is able to be born. So it has a nice, optimistic ending that you'll see tonight when you go home and watch the rest
the last
of it
half
tonight.
an hour. Yeah, absolutely.
So but it is a story. I think a lot of people would think maybe it's a concert film or it's some musical. It's neither of those. It's a story. We're in it. I think you could watch it and not even know who the Flaming Lips are and think, oh, this is a...
It is a story, and there's some other actors in there that I recognized but wasn't sure who everybody was.
Right. In the very beginning we have Fred Armisen, who people know him now from Saturday Night Live,
right.
And since he's been doing the Barack Obama impersonation, who knows where that will go. We met him, I think it had to be like 1995 or 96. Wow. He's a musician from Chicago, so a lot of people knew him even before Saturday Night Live. Since he knows of us and is a fan, I think he was aware we were making a film. And I would say, hey, Fred, we're making this film. Do you want to be in it? And he would, yeah, Wayne, get me a part, and I'll come down to Oklahoma. Same with Adam Goldberg, he really is one of these omnipresent actors. Not everybody would know who he is, but he pops up in so many movies.
Seen him in a lot of stuff.
Yeah, he's in Saving Private Ryan. He's in Entourage. He makes his own films. Same thing, Flaming Lips fan. When pressured, I said, hey, Adam, we're making this film. Secretly, he probably hoped I would never ask him, but I did, and he said yes, and probably regretted it, but he's wonderful in it. There's a guy who is known for being on Blue's Clues. Steve Burns is a wonderful actor.
Sure.
He plays in Infinity. I think it's on Nickelodeon as Steve on Blue's Clues, and he's in the film as well. But mostly it's a strange... For the Flaming Lips home movie, I have my brother is in it, couple of my nephews, my friends are in it. And that, to me, that's the best way to do any of this sort of intense art. I'm really just doing it with my friends and family, but luckily for me, some of my friends are really great filmmakers and have great crews and are great actors. So I don't know if everybody would be able to make a home movie and have it turn out like this, but I did. And
yeah, well, you were lucky that you had all those people around you to actually help you fulfill this.
You're exactly right. You got to have good luck and all that.
As the song says, you gotta have. No, never mind. So, what's our next song that we're going to play?
We are going to play a song. It's probably been popular for a little while. It's MGMT doing "Time to Pretend."
And we had them here a couple of weeks back. Now, how did you get turned on to these guys?
We record up at Dave Fridman's studio. A lot of people probably don't know that Dave Fridman produced it with the kids from MGMT. And so we were hearing this music really for the past couple of years up there. Me and Dave would play me things. Wayne, what do you think of this? And I'd be like, well, you should work on that. That sounds interesting, whatever. Then he got to work with them and found that they were really, enthusiastic, nice, young guys, endless ideas. And then you never know what's going to happen when the records come out. And even though you might think it's a great record, it kind of disappears. But this is one of those that all year has sort of been gaining and gaining. And I've run into these fellows at festivals around the
Right.
world, and I don't know if they were sweet when they were in here with you, Nick, but times I've been around, they're really strange but nice.
They're very strange fellas. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, let's say that for sure.
We enjoyed the music. Let's put it that way. No, they haven't done as many interviews as you yet. You know, they need to work on the interview skills a little bit,
or never do them again,
or just don't do them.
Yeah, one or the other. Yeah.
No, they were fine. They really were.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's interesting with younger bands or bands who are doing this for the first time,
Yeah.
and they don't quite know how to do it. They don't know how to sort of be on a microphone and talking and answering
if you
questions.
ask
They
me,
get embarrassed. You don't get embarrassed anymore,
If
do
they're
you?
going to be in here with Nic Harcourt, I'd say get it together. Yeah.
Do some practice first.
I know I did. Yeah.
All right, let's listen to Time to Pretend. It's from MGMT, and our guest DJ is Mr. Wayne Coyne. It's Morning Becomes Eclectic.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
See,
Again,
you can do that. I can't really come on at the end of a song and do that. People
That
do
is-
like, oh, he wants to sing now.
See, that's another song that probably, in the way that they end that, it goes on in infinity, and those young guys are screaming, yeah, yeah, yeah.
But you can do anything you want, really,
I
can't
did-
you?
Well,
Pretty much.
within legal limits.
Yeah.
Let's not get overconfident.
What
I
other-
can easily get overconfident.
What other bands do you like? What other younger or newer bands do
Well,
you
there's
dig?
endless. I mean, we were lucky enough to even last year to play with a band called Deerhoof. They're probably featured in some of your stuff here. Amazing musicians, strange imagination, unpredictable. Anybody who mentions new music, they feel sometimes, do we still talk about Radiohead like that's new stuff? It's like, yes, because they're still they're just amazing.
Well,
you
they're
know?
still challenging themselves and challenging
exactly.
the audience along the way, which I guess is all you can do as an artist.
No rules. Even as much as I have a strange history with even someone like Beck, even his new stuff I think is still amazing. So, there would just be an endless list. We could always talk about exclusively new music. But in these times, I think even kids growing up now, there's this thing of like, well, there's new music and there's old music. And frankly, if the music is new to you, it's new. It's a new experience. It's new music. And so, I remember when CDs were first being reissued, and we first got turned on to things like Miles Davis and even Nina Simone. In the flow of new things coming out that you could only buy at Target or at your record stores or whatever. You were kind of limited to what was available. And nowadays, everything is available. If you are curious or are interested, the whole world of music is right there in front of you. It's wonderful.
And obviously, the technology that we have of being able to distribute and deliver music now through the web has changed that completely. You talk about reissues, obviously,
Yes.
of albums, classic albums that you wouldn't know about when you were a kid because they'd been out on vinyl 10, 20 years before or something.
Exactly.
Then they came out on CD, but now everything from
Everything.
anywhere ever
Yeah.
is pretty much available.
Yeah.
Do you search out there on the World Wide Web, the misinformation superhighway, as I like to call it? Do you look out there for stuff, or do you just sort of wait for people to come and say, check this out?
Well, I mean, I don't personally search that much myself. I don't have. I know I feel like a fool now. Now you've exposed me, Nick.
I'm
I don't-
sorry.
My wife has a very powerful computer, and I feel like if I screwed something up on it,
You don't touch it. You're scared to touch it.
I touch it with her. We touch
Okay.
it together. Now it feels awkward. We touch the computer together, me and my wife. That's
Right.
all we do. People in the studio are laughing.
I don't know. It sounds funny. We're touching something together. I don't know what that is, but
But in a sense, I mean, even when I'm working on music with Stephen and Dave Friedman and Michael and stuff, I mean, we're always like, well, what are these references? And we can immediately, within sometimes seconds, have any music available to us. And it's ruthless how you can easily find stuff. I know there's going to be an endless argument about how do artists get paid and all these sorts of things. I don't know. I don't know if we'll ever know. But to restrict people from hearing music as easily as they can now seems to be wrong to me. Even though we could say, shouldn't there be some money involved? Yes, but let's get smart people who are worried about their money worried about that, and let's let the kids who are experiencing the freedom and the power and just the knowledge that music can bring to them, let them have it. Come on. I mean, that will make the world a better place, and we'll find a way to earn money. If we're smart enough, will find a way to earn money on that, and that's the way it should be.
You know, I get asked this question a lot, obviously, about the changes that we've experienced with technology, and obviously in the music industry. That, you know, again, as you say, how do you make money? But the one thing that I always figure is that regardless of how that plan comes together, there are actually a lot more artists and musicians these days being heard who actually have careers. Now, they might not be superstar careers.
Right.
It used to be back in the day, everything was like, I got to get a record deal.
Sure, yeah,
you know?
yeah.
But now, bands can, build up a local following. They can build up a fan base through the web. And
Exactly.
even though they might not get rich, they can actually make a living doing what they're doing.
Well, and they may realize this, they may not. That is the greatest atmosphere to be an artist in. I think back in the day, you were either a superstar or you went back and worked at the factory. There was no in-between, and nowadays it's the whole spectrum.
There's a big in-between.
And it's done with a lot of love and respect. It used to be if you weren't famous, you were looked as like some sort of chump. Like, who are you? If you're not famous, why play music? Whereas nowadays it's encouraged to be artistic and to be musical and to express yourself. You don't have to be Madonna. Madonna can be Madonna. You can be whatever you want, and that's allowable. And that's a great world. And that's what all this stuff has helped us do. It's not one thing is good makes another thing bad. It's complicated, but I think complicated in the best way possible.
You listen to Morning Becomes Eclectic. I'm Nic Harcourt, your host, and I just have to every now and then remind people what they're listening to, because they just like turning the radio on.
I forgot
and
who
going,
you were.
Who are these two guys? It's Wayne Coyne from the Flaming Lips, and what's our next song we're going to listen to?
We are going to listen to, speaking of the whole spectrum of music still being wonderful and allowed, we are going to listen to a track. I've been coming, doing shows with you guys for a long time. We almost always end up talking off mic a lot. We'll talk about Nina Simone. A lot of people still probably don't know who she is. She's a beautiful jazz pianist, but she's crazy singer, crazy personality, but mostly very powerful. She sings this song. It's called Everything Must Change. And I think in the time when she recorded it, I think it was in the late 70s, there was still an anger of things needed to change on a political side, on a racial side. But now with this election of Barack Obama, I feel compelled to talk about it in this afterglow. Maybe 6 months from now, we won't be still talking about how wonderful it is. And I hope we are, but maybe we won't. But maybe some change really has happened. And I think in a way, to say, I think it's happened in the best way possible, that it's not this uprising, this bloody fire and revolution. It's done by people being patient, by people being determined, and people voting, and people being civilized. That's the only way change should ever come. I hope we never, ever have to go burn up police cars in the street ever again. This is the way to do it. And Barack Obama, even if he had lost, that would be the other side of this. Even if he had lost, he'd have said the same thing. Like, we have to believe these things that we want are real and that we can get to them, but we can't get to it by destroying the enemy. We have to do it by embracing all these things. And this song, Everything Must Change, it's true.
All right, so on the other side of that coin, we've got what?
Well, we don't want to just be somber and noble all the time. Now that this change is here, I say let's rock.
All right. You don't need to listen to the whole thing, though. I mean, how many times have you heard the Beatles? Come on.
I know. People say they do this show. It's about music. They interrupt Pink Floyd and the Beatles. Who do they think they are? We're using that music to make our life better. That's what it's for.
Exactly.
Yeah. I felt a thrill when you put that on.
Me too.
That's awesome.
We were actually all singing along,
We
sort
were,
of briefly,
yeah,
and then
yeah.
we were like, we need to talk some more because we're almost out of time. We can listen to this anytime. No, we're kidding.
That's a great show that I've been part of here, though. That's to be able to talk about Barack Obama and Pink Floyd at the same time.
And
Nowhere in the world.
And Nina Simone and play MGMT and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So what else is going on?
We are probably going to make another album before too long. We're always playing shows in the summer. As the Flaming Lips, we're lucky to be one of those bands that can play the big festivals where young people are during the summer. And I don't know. I just not because of Barack Obama, but in a sense, we go out every summer, and you are saying things to people. It's not just that you play a show and say see you later. You say things through your music, and I sort of feel like we want to have a couple new things to say. So I think we're going to try to make another record and have it out even by the summer. Over the past couple of years, we've done a lot of music for films and stuff like that. And for every one song that the producers will get for your for your movie. You've done 4 or 5 other ones that have been rejected. And
you mean for soundtracks and stuff when somebody asks you to write something?
Exactly how that
Right.
goes. Yeah, and it's wonderful, to be sort of directed into doing things. And so we end up with sort of a lot of music that we like and has already been produced that I feel like will be part of this new thing. So I don't want anybody to think Barack Obama got elected and the Flaming Lips made a record real quick. But certainly, in these times, it feels like, let's say some new things, some new ideas. Sure.
Now, back in Oklahoma, you're going to be doing a New Year's show. I just found out.
Yes. Well, I know I forget. We get so busy doing things that at the end of for New Year's, we have been playing really around the world. Luckily, we're one of those bands that can play a New Year's Eve show sort of everywhere. But we decided a couple of years ago, let's try to do one in Oklahoma City, and if the people around the world wanted, they could come to Oklahoma City, and we'll play a show there every year. At least you'll know where we're going to be, and try to turn Oklahoma City into this sort of freak out, even if it's just for this one night while we're there. So, and we take over one of the big arenas there, and they give us a couple days to set up and a couple days to tear down. And it's for Oklahoma, I would say it's strangely out of control.
But it obviously it all ties together because I mean your whole sort of being of the Flaming Lips comes from being there.
Well, it does.
So you sort of take it home, take the weirdness home to where the weirdness came from.
Well, I agree, but in the confines, in the sort of conservative area of Oklahoma City, it is still a very strange occurrence. I don't know if they'll actually allow us to keep doing it, but we're going to do it as long as we can get away with it. This is my philosophy. Let's do it. Let's make the world more like the way we want it to be. That's what we should always do.
And Ariana tells me she's going.
Okay.
All right. So we're just about done. So
well, it's wonderful being here with you again, Nick.
Thanks for coming in.
Yeah. It's a great show to be a part of. It really is.
We're going to give away some copies of the Christmas on Mars DVD and CD set. I guess it comes together.
Yes.
With the music and the DVD.
Both together, yeah.
Let's do that very quickly. If you've not won anything from KCRW in the last 90 days and you'd like to score a copy of this, we're going to get you to sign them as well. It's the Flaming Lips Christmas on Mars DVD CD set. 877-600-KCRW. We've got 5 copies. 877-600-KCRW. My thanks to Wayne, obviously, for being here, to Julie Muncie at Warner Brothers, Candice Moyer, our production assistant in studio today, and Ariana Morgenstern produces our program. Now, there's 2 pieces of music up there. Which one are we? Okay, so what's our last song that we're
going out
go
with?
Out
this. This is a song on not by Feist, not on her new record, but I think the previous one. And it's not a song that she wrote, but it's a wonderful cover, and it has this idea of acceptance and knowledge. It seems perfect for these times. Again, this idea of Barack Obama, we don't want to pound people and say, look, we were right. It's saying, of course, we all knew eventually, we'd all know that these things are right. It's not that we were right and you were wrong. We were just right before you were going to realize you were right. I think this song
we were right
says
first.
That.
All right. Well, good luck with everything that's happening, obviously, with the movie coming out and then the next album, I guess, maybe next year.
I'll see you again.
All right. Take it easy.
All right.